I quit. I'm done. I don't want to do this job anymore. There's someone else that does this way better than me, and I give that person my full support. And imagine saying that, and then getting a raise and a promotion. Well, in Michigan, a man who quit his campaign a few weeks ago, suspended it, told everybody he was done, endorsed one of his opponents instead, shot a video, threw it on Facebook wearing his opponent's hat, telling the voters of Michigan's 8th district to go vote for that other guy. He quit. And on Tuesday night, despite all of that, despite quitting, that man won the Republican primary. And he beat a candidate that is carrying Donald Trump's complete and total endorsement, a rally with Trump in person at a GM plant, and Truth Social post with all caps promises that say he will never let you down. And that Trump-endorsed candidate lost by 17 points. Why? Well, as we mentioned in a video a few days ago, it was all because of his name. Because when Donald Trump posted that endorsement just a couple of weeks ago, his own base revolted. Not over policy, over his name. Amir Hassan, a black man born and raised in Flint, Navy veteran, former federal law enforcement officer, and the replies on Trump's own website, his own Truth Social, came up with things like no Muslims in America and no Muslims in office, and have you lost your mind endorsing Muslim candidates? Laura Loomer, who I quote way too often on this program, took the mask all the way off and said it didn't even matter whether he was actually Muslim, saying, quote, his name sounds like he's fresh off the boat. And again, I covered all of this a couple of days ago when the endorsement dropped. Go watch it because everything that happened Tuesday was visible from space at that point. I mean, Hassan's own campaign said that he's a Christian, that Jesus Christ is his Lord and Savior, born again, born in Flint, served this country twice over. And none of that mattered because to that base, his name was a bridge too far. And let's be clear about something. Being Muslim is definitely not something to be disqualifying you in the first place, since there is obviously no religious test for office in this country. That's in the Constitution, by the way. Don't know if you knew that. But MAGA voters walked in on Tuesday, saw Amir Hassan next to Thomas J. Smith on the ballot, and picked the whitest name on the page, even though that man completely quit the race. And look, these sorts of low information voters, they're the ones that got Trump elected, by the way. Trump spent 10 years or more feeding this exact mob. And on Tuesday, we saw it come full circle with MAGA imploding on their own candidate. Now, to tell you about the man who quit and won, Thomas Smith, a retired GM engineer, which means Trump held a rally for Amir Hassan at a GM plant and lost that seat to a guy who used to work at a GM plant. And the other candidate, Al Lemo, the candidate that Smith actually endorsed and wore that hat for, finished third with just 16%.
I am announcing that today I am suspending my campaign and putting my full support behind Al Lemo, Republican for Congress.
So, to keep this straight, the man who quit beat the man that Trump vouched for and also beat the man that the quitter told everyone to vote for instead of himself. Got it? Because I have no idea what's going on there. And look, nobody in this race got anything they wanted. Not the president, not the winner, not the guy in the hat. Except for me. Because I love this chaos. You cannot go into a midterm with this absolute disaster of a slate for Republicans in this district. And I've got to ask, if Trump's own base isn't going to follow his endorsement just because the sound of a candidate's name, what does this actually do to his real leverage over the rest of the party heading into November? Is this the spell finally breaking, or is the bigotry just stronger than the brand? Draw me a comment and let me know. But then I want to get to Smith's statement afterwards, saying that he was humbled and honored that Republicans chose him. I mean, that's like winning a raffle by default because you're the only one left in the room. Everyone else got food poisoning and left. And now this guy says that he is looking forward to working with Speaker Mike Johnson to advance the America First agenda, which is a hell of a pivot for a man who 11 days ago was doing unpaid promotional work for a completely different candidate. And as far as I can see, this is the first time all cycle that a Trump endorsement has really actually lost at the ballot box without some big scandal. The good news here, though, was not just on that Republican side, because a few counties over, a progressive candidate, Abdul al-Said, won the Democratic Senate primary. I love to see that. He is going to get our support come November. And that's why I'm going to ask you to subscribe, because the road to November is going to be absolutely insane, and I hope you stick with me throughout the entire time. And if you really support what we do, please consider becoming a member.